Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. We are back online. This is race 3 of 6 in the 2021
Good evening,
British
everybody.
Triathlon
Welcome.
Tri-Nations Challenge. We are back in the wonderful virtual world of Zwift. Good evening to all of our riders. We can see on the screen joining us. If you are riding and listening to us, as I know several of you have done in previous races, good luck this evening. To everybody else, perhaps joining us and watching this online through the British Triathlon Facebook page, good evening to you. I hope you enjoy the next 40 to 45 minutes or so of Zwift action. If you are new to this whole online racing, well, don't worry. We'll over the next 40 minutes or so, we will give you an explanation of what is actually happening, what you're seeing on the screen, and how it's all going to be working. So the idea of the Tri-Nations Challenge, it's a bit of fun racing, really, an opportunity for home nations athletes to race and represent the home nation. So Triathlon England, Welsh Triathlon, and Triathlon Scotland. And you will be seeing them this evening. Pretty easy to spot in either the white, red, or blue. I think you can probably work out for yourselves which nations they will be representing. This evening, we have got a course of just over 23 kilometres. And of course, with this being the final week of the Tour de France, it's only appropriate that we are on one of the newest maps on Zwift. This is the France map, the virtual world of France. Actually, it's based upon the the Normandy region in France. And this particular map is called Casse-Pattes. We will tell you a little bit more about that as we get ready to go. The athletes are going to be ramping up the watts, and as always with Zwift, full gas from the start, and away we go. So this Casse-Pattes route is a 23-kilometre clockwise circuit on this France map, and as we just roll out onto the course, that just adds about another 800 or 900 meters onto that 23-kilometer circuit. We're now onto the route here, so let's just give you a little bit of background. So what is Casse-Pattes? Well, the French term actually translates as leg breaking, which sounds pretty ominous. But what that actually means tonight in relation to cycling, it's a term used within French cycling to indicate a type of course or a gradient that can actually impact a cyclist's rhythm. So we'll actually see that, to be honest, only over the last quarter of the course. The first 12 kilometers is really pan flat. So it will be very, very fast from the gun. So we're already seeing our group together at the front. Mostly the white jerseys of England, but we do have at the moment one lone Scot, and I'm pretty sure, actually two lone Scots there, pretty sure not too far away we will see the red and black jersey of last month's winner when we were racing on the Innsbruck course. That was Chris Walker. Chris, here we go. He's on the screen now. Did see him. It was a very, very, very close finish last month. Chris, of course, very distinguished athlete, now in the super vet status, but the years are not impacting his performances. He's a 5-time Commonwealth Games representative for Guernsey. Sorry, for Gibraltar. I'm always getting those wrong. So apologies, Chris. It's Gibraltar, not Guernsey. 3 times in the triathlon, twice in the cycling at the Commonwealth Games. And he'll be looking to see whether he can repeat that performance again. Also on the start list there, just noticed in the blue, also in the blue from Scotland, James Wilson. Now, James If that is the James Wilson, I think it is. He is an extremely talented triathlete, multiple European and world age group champion. So it'd be no surprise to see James, also a big user of Zwift, up towards the front. We've also got, at least on the start list, we'll get to see them over the next few minutes, whether they've actually made it on to the start line. Provisionally, the 3rd, 4th and 5th place athletes from last month. And we did actually have an incredibly close sprint finish in Innsbruck. So keep your eyes out for Mark Latham, Tony, Claire and Paul Miller. So as we said a few moments ago, very, very fast opening 12 kilometers here. So we're in that sort of Normandy, which is, I guess, if you're picturing France in your mind, that's the northwest coast of France. And it is at the moment Chris Walker out at the front, but there's not going to be too many gaps at this early stage. I think all of the action will be a little bit later on as we get to the 2 hills on the course. There's one short, sharp hill, which is called the Aqueduct KOM, and then shortly after that, probably the hill that's going to determine how the racing plans out tonight, the Petit KOM, which is quite ironic, Petit being small and it's the biggest hill on this particular course. But that is all to come. We're just 3 kilometers into the racing at the moment. So I know many of you watching, you'll probably be pretty familiar with Zwift, but if you are watching this and wondering, well, what is it I'm actually watching? Isn't this a bit of a cartoon? Well, let's put it into hopefully English for you. All of the on-screen rider representations, the avatars, represent an actual rider that is cycling probably at their homes, in their garages, in their pain caves, wherever over Britain, or they could indeed be anywhere around the world. They'll be riding their bikes attached to what's known as a smart trainer. So that is like the development of turbo trainers that allows you to ride your bike at home, but with the advent of technology, those training machines will also be able to provide lots of data outputs, namely power outputs, heart rates, etc., which go into the Zwift software, which you're seeing on the screen, and based upon the rider's weight, the power output, etc., that will be able to give a very accurate representation of what their real world speed would be. So although it's racing in a virtual world, we will expect to be seeing some pretty close racing tonight, and that's what we're seeing on the screen at the moment. So Chris Walker there must have some energy. He's managing to even make a comment to his fellow riders of "we are breaking them," so maybe that front group is getting away. But while they're doing that, we're 4.3 kilometers in. As we said, there's about 12 kilometers flat section before we get to that first little hill. Going to see if we can just take an opportunity just to maybe just go back through the field, just have a look at some of the other riders, some of the other groups. So we've just gone back here to Jay Ward. Apologies, don't have the first names for everybody here. So we've got, I think this is going to be our second group, if I'm not mistaken. So just as in the real world, Zwift does give you a benefit. If you are in the slipstream of another rider within the Zwift application, then your avatar on screen, it will have the impact just as it would of that drafting effect in the real world. So you can actually put out less power, or put it simply, don't press the pedals so hard, but still be able to keep up with the rider in front of you. Similarly, if you want to overtake, it's going to take you more power, etc. So it's pretty advanced, all of the algorithms and the technology that goes into the Zwift online training platform. And Zwift, of course, the official online training platform of British Triathlon, the market leader at the moment, really, in this ever increasing and extremely popular area of training, both for cyclists and triathletes. Of course, all of the indoor training been given a huge, in a way unwanted, but just a effective boost over the last 18 months because of the implications of the coronavirus pandemic and people being forced to remain at home. Then more and more riders have been turning to indoor training, indoor racing, and the likes of Zwift and many of the other applications enable that to happen in a much more interactive way, as well as being interactive, still be able to have quality training, but also this virtual racing, which is indeed part of why British Triathlon have put these events on. A little bit of fun for everybody. So we're looking at Kay Wright from representing Tri Carlos race team at the moment. Good evening. Pretty sure I saw at the start a comment that I think he'd done a middle distance race at the beginning of the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So congratulations on that. Hope that went well. And more importantly, hope you've got some legs left for this evening's exertions. This course, 23.8 kilometers, so pretty rapid. Certainly at the moment we're going over, I was going to say some of the cobbles, but we're in France, so that would be the pavé, of course. Been plenty of pavé in the Tour de France. So also one of the benefits of Zwift, just over to the left on the screen, you'll have just caught sight of Mont Saint-Michel, which is a very famous castle that's just off of the coast. Actually, sometimes it's almost connected because of the waves within, and as the sea tides change. So quite a famous location, monument within northern France, within the Normandy area. So we've got 3 of our Triathlon England representatives on the screen here. We've got Messrs. Wright, Waite and Jennings. They're moving along well. Looks like they're actually trying to work together. So just as you would in if you were out training with your mates or within a draft legal racing situation, you can have benefits of having that draft. So the guy on the front, Mr. White, he'll be working pretty hard. Just behind, those riders will have to put out a little bit less effort. They get a little bit of a break. And then if they are following that tried and tested format from regular racing, maybe we'll back off and let the following riders come through, just exactly as we're seeing now. Perfect. It's almost as if they're listening to me. So the rider that was on the front drops back a little bit. He'll now be able to have a little bit of a rest. Won't have to put out quite so much power to maintain his position. So these are the guys in probably actually I was on the screen. So you can see at the top on the the right hand side of the screen, we've got the various names. So that gives you the current position. So that would be the group in around 17th, 18th, 19th approximately. So the distance is being gobbled up. We're now just moved groups back again. So just moved forward from where we are now. We have got Bainbridge on the screen. So again, apologies, I don't have immediately to hand. Let's just see if we have got them. the first name, so it sounds as though I'm probably being a little bit formal. Simon Bainbridge, there we go. So Simon Bainbridge on the screen. And we've got David Holmes just in front of him. So David and Simon are in the middle of the race at the moment, around 14th, 15th of our 22 starters at the moment. So while we're on this flat section, it's been good to just give us an opportunity to bounce our way through the field, just have a little bit of a look of what's going on, not just up at the front where we had Wilson, Chris Walker and co. We'll get back to those in a few minutes, but yeah, it's good to have a look at what's going on down the field. Of course, the nice thing with Zwift, literally everybody can race. It's not just about who's at the front and got the biggest power output and who can win the race. I should know that. I spent many decades racing and never actually managed to win a thing, but you can still have plenty of fun, can't you? So yeah, if you are still have not got yourself a smart trainer, or even the smart bikes, the likes of the Watt bike, the Kicker bike, and there are plenty of other options now. Definitely worth looking into if you are, if you do enjoy your cycling, want an opportunity to race, to train, whatever the weather, then really does make things pretty easy, particularly if you can set it up somewhere in your house, in your garage, etc. Then you just have to literally get on, switch on your app, turn on the bike, and away you go. No danger of punctures either, which is one other benefit. So that distance is flying by now. So moved up again, a little bit further up the field. So we've got another group here. So 10.4 kilometers gone now. So I think we're only about a kilometer and a half away from coming to the first little climb on this course. So as we said, the name of this particular map on the particular route on the France map is Casse-Pattes. It's the leg breaking. So it is the leg breaking in this sense is not so much the severity of the hills, just the fact that there are these little ups and downs which do get in the way of that smoothness of the first 12k. So I think this is difficult to see on my screen. I think this is going to be the chase group. I think we do have a bit of a break at the front. Definitely here I can't see the red of Chris Walker. So yeah, these positions at the moment, this is around 9th, probably sort of from 8th through to about 13th. So with that first little climb happening, or about to come up, probably worth, if we can, sort of moving forward and maybe sort of joining the likes of Chris Walker and James Wilson. So here you go, we're now on the pave again. So looks like it could be the second defeat for England in a few days. Oh, was that a bit too soon? If you've been watching the football, second place for England on Sunday night, but at the moment it is looks like 2 Scottish vests and Wales up at the front. So although representing Wales this evening in terms of home nation, he is from Gibraltar. So looks like we've got a trio of athletes, I think, together there. So we've got, actually maybe it's 4. I think we could have Pearson, Beale, Walker and Wilson. It looks like Chris Walker's taken nothing to chance there, just looking at his kit. You've got the either the white, red and black, or the blue colours representing either Triathlon England, Triathlon Scotland, or Welsh Triathlon. But all of the other elements that the riders are riding, so the bikes, the colours, the shoes, all of that other good stuff, is actually what's been earned by the riders through their time on Zwift. They go through the levels, and just noticing that Chris Walker has gone full aero. He's got the full time trial aero helmet on there that we don't normally see within a road race, and he's on that very fancy Tron bike, I think is what they call it within the Zwift world, the fluorescent colours. I'm not fully up to date on the latest tech in Zwift, but I think the Tron bike is, in theory, the fastest bike. If that's not the case, I'm sure somebody will shout me down in the comments, but that's fine. Every day is a learning day. So James Wilson. So we're on that first little climb at the moment. So this is only about 400 meters, average of 5%. So you can see the effort that he's putting in. Just look at the top left-hand corner. That's the watts. That's the power output. So the power in watts. So that will be fed into the Zwift application directly from the smart trainer or the smart bike that James is riding. So it looked as though as he got to the top there, he did back off a little bit. We saw, again, just using another little function within Zwift, a little bit of a right elbow nudge out. So I think James is obviously very, very experienced on Zwift, plenty of riding, just as you would in a real world. Little sign that, yeah, he's just, at this point, not wanting to get away on his own. But they're definitely pulling away, I think, at the front. So here we've got Chris Walker and James Wilson. And we did have a group of 3. It could be down to 2 now. So just looking there, the other Scottish rider, Beale. See if we can get the first name. Craig Beale. Apologies for that little delay in getting that info. So we do have, yeah, James on the front at the moment. Chris Walker hanging with him, and the two of them have now just put a couple of seconds into Craig Beale. So you can see that on that right hand side. If you ignore just the top name at the moment, the A Pearson, something's gone a little awry there. So really you can see there the first and second on the rows, James Wilson and Chris Walker. We've got Craig Beale now about 4 seconds back, and then there's a bigger gap back to about 25 seconds to that next group. So a fairly large group in that chase pack, but we're now down to 2 at the front. So there's a flat section now, but the next significant part, which will surely be the crucial part in determining which direction this event is going to go. Is it going to be the blue of Scotland or the red and black of Wales? We have a 2.7 kilometre climb. That is the Petit KOM, the King of the Mountains. That'll be coming up pretty soon. And then once they get to the peak of that, so it's a 2.7 kilometre climb at an average of 4%. And then from the summit of that, it's pretty much all downhill from that point onwards. So I would suggest if you can get a significant gap going up the hill, it's going to be pretty difficult to catch back. So we'll be back to those two at the front in a moment. So we're back now with our chasers. So this is the chase group. A little bit further back. So I think we've still got Craig Beale in Is he alone in... Actually, no, I think trying to work out from the data, maybe Craig is now back with this group. A little tough trying to just work it all out in real time, but that will... Oh, no, this... Here we go. So, no, I was mistaken. Now, Craig's still clear in third. And there's about a 16-second gap back to that chase group. So there we go. So looking at Craig's numbers, Craig is now 12 seconds down on our leading duo of James Wilson and Chris Walker. Craig on screen now in third place, and then that chase group are hunting him down now. So they are closing slightly, now down to about 14 seconds. So will that early effort from Craig come back to bite a little bit over the final 7 kilometers of this route? We've still got that climb to come, of course. So it would seem up at the front, the first 2 positions, and it's not really a surprise in terms of the previous performances in the real world of both Chris and James Wilson. As we said, Chris, 5 times Commonwealth Games representative for Gibraltar, and James is a many-time world and European age group champion over both sprint and standard distance. So they are extremely accomplished athletes, definitely know what they're doing on the bike, just as they do on the swim and run too. So they are away and clear at the front, but this chase group, they are hunting down Craig Beale to see if they can bridge up and perhaps be in a position to go for that 3rd place sprint a little bit later in the race. We say later, but it's not going to be too far away now. 17.2 kilometers. Chase group have covered. Only got 6.4 kilometers to go. So that's only about 4 miles in old money. So that will be over before you know it. So if our riders are listening to the commentary as they are riding, and it's good to know from the previous comments from the Facebook page post-race that was definitely the case for several of our riders last time. You're doing a great job putting on a good show for us. Racing action over the next couple of weeks is pretty quiet in the real world. A little matter of a certain Tokyo 2020 ahead, so we've got a little bit of a lull in the real world action, so we're managing to fill that with a bit of Zwift of virtual racing. But it looks like we are now on the climb. You can see Chris putting out some solid watts there. So he is consistently above 400 watts here. So we've got a little bit of a switchback going on. At the bottom of the screen, you're getting that moving distance measure. You can see James Wilson still not dropped, but that's so 10 meters back. So James is going to be having to put in significant power himself to try and stay with Chris, as we're going uphill at the moment, just as we would in the real world. And 10 meters back, he's not going to be given much in terms of a drafting advantage by the Zwift application. So anything that he wants to do to get back, he's going to be having to do himself. But here he comes. He has got back. He's now moved to the front. We're now up to 7% on this climb. So this climb, 2.7 kilometers long. Nothing extremely steep, but it does average about 4%. And when you're putting out the solid watts per kilo that our riders have been doing over what is a relatively short event, certainly in relation to many of the triathlon distances that they'll be racing, that's still going to hurt. So it is the blue of Scotland and the red of Wales. It's Wilson and Walker. They have been riding well together from the start. Unless something drastic happens, it's definitely going to be a battle between the two of them for this evening's victory. But just looking down a little bit further down, we've got Craig Beale. He is now only 9 seconds ahead of that chasing group. So we've got Beale there, Harris now only 8 seconds behind. So the chasing group, Harris, is that Palmer, Weeks Ward, and Tony Clare, who was one of the top performers from our last race. Actually finished 4th 2 weeks ago on the Innsbruck course. He is well in contention for another strong performance. But Beale is definitely going to have the feeling, even though it is a virtual one, of that chasing group hunting him down. He's trying his best to keep them off, holding well over 300 watts here at this 6% climb. But from that view, you can see just behind our next rider is in shot, and it does look as though Harris has managed to just pull himself clear of that chasing group. So we're seeing him on screen now. That's Stephen Harris. So Stephen is pulled away from what was that chasing group of about 7 riders. He's in 4th place, and it looks as though he is about to bridge back up to 3rd place. So we've got up at the front, we've got a duo, Walker and Wilson, but now this is the battle for 3rd place. Craig Beale and Stephen Harris. I think they're going to be approaching the top of the climb pretty soon. So will Harris be able to bridge back up to Beale before that fast descent down into the finish, back to the marina, and what could be a sprint finish? So we're definitely coming up towards the top of the climb now. We're seeing on the left-hand side, as you get in Zwift, the timing data that whenever you do any of these sprint sections or the King of the Mountains, Queen of the Mountains sections on the course, gives you your time each time you do it. So if you want to set a best time or see how you performed versus previous times that you've done it, you'll get that information live on screen. So Beale and Harris now together. Oh, they have now been caught. So it looks like Tony Clare, we mentioned a few moments ago, 4th last time. He was only 2 seconds off the win on that Innsbruck course, which was race 2 in the Tri-Nation series. He has put in a strong effort towards the end of that climb. So there we go. We've just gone. We're now on the descent. So you can see immediately as they went over there on the top right-hand corner where we got the height. Sorry, not the height. The gradient. You'll see top right-hand corner. We're now seeing that -7, -8. So that is the gradient that the riders are on. So they are now on the descent. So that also means that up at the front, Wilson, James Wilson and Chris Walker are now going to be flying down this hill. Our chasers are at 20.5 kilometers. They're going to be a little bit further up the road. So they're probably now approaching only 2 kilometers to go. So there's not going to be far and not long before we see Chris Walker and James Wilson. So this is our chasers. They have come back a little bit on the final part of that climb. So we've got Beale, Harris, Clare and Weeks. But if we can, it's going to be time, I think, with less than 2 kilometers to go, I think, for our leaders, if we can go back towards the front. So we've got Chris Walker and James Wilson. So on the screen, the red is Chris Walker, representing Wales in this Home Nations event, but he is from Gibraltar. And literally right on his tail, James Wilson, representing Triathlon Scotland. 22.6 kilometers is about to click over, so they are 1,200 meters away, and you can see how fast they're going. Absolutely flying down this hill. So they're going to be coming to the 1 kilometer to go. Which way is it going to go? Are we going to get another sprint finish? I think we are. So as we said, both of these guys, fantastic triathletes in their own right. And this just goes to show that what might seem an extremely complicated process of how can two guys, probably hundreds of miles apart, be riding a turbo trainer, and it represent a true to life race. Well, this is the magic of the current smart trainers and these incredible software products like Zwift. So we've got two fantastic triathletes very, very close together, and the line is going to be coming up very, very soon. So Chris is at the front, absolutely powering away, 420 watts. I think we've only got a couple of 100 meters to go. 500 watts. Here we go. There is nothing in it. 600 watts. So here comes James now. Is this a final effort? It's at the finish line ahead. We've got a massive sprint. James has just moved into the front. James Wilson just, I think, takes that from Chris Walker. Another incredible finish. I think that's 3 that we've had in all of our racing so far. So Tony Clare, he is also not far away. Now, Tony, as we said, was 4th last time. This is going to be his opportunity to finish in the top 3. He has gone absolutely full gas now, 680 watts. Unbelievable power. Absolutely leaving it all out on the course. And I think Tony is going to come home to take that 3rd place as we come into the town. There is the finish line in front. He's got a couple of seconds lead. I think that's going to be enough to bring him home safely. So Craig Beale just in 4th. So as we go back down the field now. So behind the scenes, we have to do some very whizzy stuff so we can try and bring in all of our riders. We've got Ward coming in next, provisionally in 7th place. So congratulations. Some really close racing today. Not a lot in it at all. So they had that really tough final climb, 2.7 kilometers, full gas up the Petit King of the Mountains climb, and then a very, very fast and rapid descent back into the marina area for this sprint to the finish. And it is going to be Palmer coming in for 8th position. Kieran McManus is going to be next across the line in the blue of Triathlon Scotland. Well done, Kieran. And Ashley Jolly, another one of our Scottish athletes. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that will also be our first female finisher. So congratulations to Ashley. She follows on from last month's winner, which was Alice McClellan. So great job from Ashley. Very experienced Zwift rider, already up to level 30 on Zwift. So plenty of racing and training done by Ashley on Zwift. Got a sprint finish coming up here. Giles being chased by Smart. Oh, it's going to go right to the line. We've got this overhead shot. Oh, Giles just gets there. So 400 meters to go for Chalky Shawcross. 23.8 is the official distance this evening. So Chalky is just coming into that final marina area. So into the last 200 meters. And looks as though it's pretty safe in terms of riders behind. We've got a little bit of a gap back to our next rider, which is Ben Jennings. So well done to Chalky, apologies. Let's put my teeth back in. So that's 13 riders across the line already. Ben Jennings on the screen at the moment. Ben has got a little bit of a buffer and only about 600 meters to go, so should be pretty safe. But it looks as though we could have a bit of a sprint behind, because after Ben, we do have Rob Waite. And let's see if I can get the other name, and John Simpson. So they're about both 25 seconds back. So looks like Ben Jennings should be pretty safe for his position, but we do love a sprint finish. It doesn't matter whether it's for first or whether it's for 15th. So hopefully one or both of John and Rob could well be listening to the action while they're taking part on Zwift, and let's see if they can put on a sprint finish for us. But with the finish line in sight, 14th place ahead. Good riding from Ben Jennings. So here we go. He said that they were close together. This is John Simpson and Rob Waite. So they're coming into the very, very final stages. It's Rob in the lead at the moment. Is Rob going to get to the line? They're both putting out some big power. So still 550 watts. That is significant effort. That really takes some doing. So yeah, Rob did just get to the line ahead of John. Looks like we've got another close finish coming up here. Got Holmes and Bainbridge. So that is David Holmes and Simon Bainbridge. So Simon looks as though he is going for a bit of a sprint. He's hit 500 watts. Just dropping off a little bit. Goes again, but yeah, just getting home safely. So next up, it is Mr. Wright. Apologies, I don't have your first name down here, but on Zwift he rides for Tri-Carlos. Gonna guess that may be either a cycling club or maybe one of these virtual cycling clubs. Also coming up to the finish, just 200 meters to go now, and I think, as we said earlier, pretty sure that this guy may well have raced a half Ironman at the weekend, in which case, bravo, or should we say, as we're in France, chapeau for coming back and racing again just a few days later. And the welcome sight of the finish line of the marina area on this Casse-Pattes course on the France map here on Zwift. Little bit of a nod to the Tour de France, of course. That tour will finish this week, so we are on the France map of Zwift this month, and we will actually be back in France again next month. The next race will take place on the 10th of August. Different map will be on the Champs-Élysées, which will of course be the sights and sounds of the Tour de France coming up on Sunday, but the virtual Champs-Élysées will be our home next month. So do come and join us on the 10th of August. These events are open to, of course, to all Home Nations members. No charge to take part. Just log into your account online and you can join the Zwift race through there. If you check out the British Triathlon Facebook page and website, there are very detailed instructions of exactly how you find the event to join. With it being a British Triathlon Home Nations only event, it doesn't visually appear in the normal way through the Zwift Companion app, so you might be thinking, oh, I can't find it. Don't worry about that. If you just go through the British Triathlon or your Home Nations website where you log into your account, you'll find all of the details and you can join there. We'd love to have you, love to have even more riders if possible. So this is race 3, 3 more to go, and we'll be with you each month live on the British Triathlon Facebook page, hopefully having a little bit of fun, bringing you some action. Yeah, I hope you are enjoying what you're seeing. Sometimes it's not the easiest thing to follow, but we have a little bit of fun here trying to do it. But coming up to the line, here we go, Peter Green. So well done, Peter. So Peter gets the virtual ticker tape as he crosses the line. And just up on the data, I can see that he has set a particular personal best for that section of the course. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, we are pretty much now about to round up our coverage here. So thank you very much to all of our riders for taking part. Hope you got the results that you were hoping for. Hope the training is working. And if it didn't, don't worry. It's all good fun anyway. Bit of sweat created, some calories burnt, and that dinner is going to taste even better for you this evening. With that, we're going to log off here. Thank you to all of our viewers through the British Triathlon Facebook page. Hope you've enjoyed it. She'll be back again next month, 10th of August, for round 4 of the British Triathlon Tri-Nation Series, where we will be back with the course on the Champs-Élysées. Until then, goodbye.